The moment I opened my eyes, I knew I had made the biggest mistake of my life. They had left me about 3.5 centimeters of a rectum, which is not enough to control your bowels. In July of 2020, I went for my colonoscopy, and the doctor came out and he showed me this very ugly black picture that used to be my rectum. And he said, "I'm sorry to tell you, you have advanced colorectal cancer. I'm going to refer you to a surgeon immediately. We've got to cut it out, and you're going to have a bag." And I looked at him and I said, "No, I don't think so. I can heal myself. I can do this." And then he said the first of the two mantras I would hear throughout my treatment: "Well, dear, at your age, you're not likely to heal." And the second thing was, okay, we're going to start a treatment plan: radiation, chemo, surgery. So surgery was the mantra all throughout. Well, I did all the conventional treatments, I did non-conventional things, you name it, I did it probably. And when I started the treatments, I had a laundry list of severe allergic reactions. The most severe being that I lost all my cognitive abilities. Within a month, I was just sitting on the couch, barely able to finish a sentence, not able to hold a conversation. And my husband said, "Read this book." And he gave me the book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, which I loved because I'm a Buddhist. And I was like, yeah, Buddhism has been saying this for 4,000 years. It's perfect. Well, I didn't start the work at that time. But this is not a cancer story. After 7 months of treatment, my cognitive decline was pretty complete. And the doctors came back to that surgery. And I was this little tiny voice saying, "No, I know I can heal this. I know I can heal." No, the fear mongering was very intense. They got some of my family members involved in the fear, and I was pressured into this surgery to remove most of the rectum and the bottom part of the colon. The moment I opened my eyes, I knew I had made the biggest mistake of my life. So had the reversal, and reality set in that they had left me about 3.5 centimeters of a rectum, which is not enough to control your bowels. It's not enough to do anything. And so I was like a hose that wouldn't turn off. Everything just kept pouring out of me. I would spend hours in the bathroom. I could not leave. I couldn't be, in the beginning, more than 20 feet away from my bathroom. And I had incontinence all the time. I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't even go outside and take care of my animals. I went back for the lab diagnosis, for the lab results, and the doctor was like, "Oh, well, we didn't find any cancer in the outlying areas." And I said, "I told you wouldn't." And then she goes, we removed a malignancy several centimeters large." Okay, so I continued like this, and I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep because 10, 15 minutes would go by, and I would have to go to the bathroom. And the other thing was I had a huge amount of scar tissue, and internal scar tissue is very painful. And if I was sleeping for 5 or 10 minutes, if I moved, the scar tissue would poke at me, wake me up. After months of this, crying, sobbing, not being able to do anything to control my bowels, I started to get very depressed. Now, I was abused in every sense of the word in the first 25 years of my life, so I know what suffering is. I had never suffered like this. I turned to my husband one day and I said, you know what, I'm done. I'm done. This is not a life I want to live. I can't go anywhere. I can't do anything. And I think I'll just check out because, you know, I've done a couple of things in my life and I've had a little bit of fun and I've accomplished it. So I'm going to just check out. He said, so what do you plan to do? And I was like, I don't know. So I focused on it and I came back and I said, you know what? Since I can't live like this and this is no life, I'm just going to have to grow a rectum. And my husband, being the guy he is, said, if anyone can do it, Allyne, you can.
Well, he's the real doctor.
So I said, well, it's my birthday month. Buy me the intensive progressive workshop. And I'm just going to start doing this. I have to find a way to grow a rectum. So this seemed like a good idea to do it with this meditation work. So I started this loop. I would listen to the lectures while I was doing my physical therapy. I would do the meditations, starting with the first ones, you know, the space, that. I just kept doing them. And that was all I had. Well, August went by. Oh, and then when I was doing the meditations, because I had no bowel control, I would start a meditation, push play, have to push pause, go to the bathroom for however long, come back, push play. And I never stopped because I was so determined that this was going to happen. Some 45-minute meditations might take me 2 hours, but I did it every single day. I never missed a day. September went by, all the same. I also would get up in the mornings, look in the mirror and say, I'm so grateful I have a normal rectum, normal bowels, normal control, normal sensation, even when I was right there by the bathroom. And I also visualized the scar tissue going away because I knew I couldn't heal if I was filled with scar tissue, because scar tissue gets in the way of healing. And then I would visualize my rectum stretching like this, because I had that little tiny bit. So I would stretch it, and then I would, follow the meditations. October came, and I had one day where, for the first time, I realized I had had 30 minutes where I did not feel like I had to go to the bathroom. I was so excited. 30 minutes.
Hang on. I want you to know that this is her moment. You realize that all the work, her constantly choosing herself, constantly showing up for herself, constantly overcoming herself, constantly reaffirming that belief of possibility, doing the work, she has one change. It's all she needed. She just needed it. All she needed was that. The moment she knew that, oh my God, I just became aware that I haven't had to use the bathroom in the last 30 minutes, that moment right there strengthens her credence in what she's doing 1,000-fold. That's all she needs, because now that she knows she's made a change, now she's really going to do it with a greater level of belief, a greater level of intention. Did you get that? Excuse me.
Thank you. So November, I would have moments where I could get through a 30-minute meditation without using the bathroom, and I was, like I said, very encouraged. December came around, the oncologist wanted me to go for a follow-up. I go in there, and that was when I found out I had cured that cancer. That surgeon had taken out healthy organs. I was devastated. Talk about rage. I was left in this condition with healthy organs removed, cried for a few days and said, you know what? I have to learn how to love this surgeon because I won't heal if I'm mad at her.
Good excuse to stop, too. Really good excuse to stop. Got knocked off the horse. Really good excuse to stop. What a great choice to make. That is a defining moment right there. Thank you so much.
So I added giving love to my routine. January, I got the announcement that San Diego 2022 was going to be happening, and I turned to my husband, this great guy. I said, you know, I have to go. He said, yes, I know. And, because I wanted to be healed. I was like, these people are going to heal me. This is going to be fantastic. I'm going to get healed. I did the application. I did all the work. But I was gradually noticing I had more time where I didn't feel urgency, where I didn't feel like I had to run to the bathroom, less incontinence. I'm telling you, incontinence is very dehumanizing. And being able to start controlling that was a massive step forward for me. So I had to go for a follow-up colonoscopy in April. I said to the doctor, I need you to measure my rectum. And I need you to take pictures of my scar tissue because I want to see what everything looks like because I'm very visual. And he's like, okay. He comes out and he says, you weren't really that clean. We're going to have to reschedule this. I said, well, did you see my rectum? And he said, yes. I said, well. And he said, oh, it looked like it was about half. I said, half? I said, you didn't measure it? No, I just eyeballed it. Okay, about half. But I was going, wow, it's about half? Is that real? I was afraid to believe it. And then I said, well, let me see the pictures of the scar tissue. So he shows me these pictures, and he's like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, that little line there, that little line might be scar tissue. I had no scar tissue. I had completely eliminated all of that scar tissue. So I went to San Diego, April, and walked in to register and discovered I was not selected as a Healy. It was hard. But after about an hour, I was completely overcome with this feeling of, no, I need to be a healer. I'm going to do better as a healer. And it turned out to be true. All three of the healings were out of this world. Two things significant happened to me. When I went into the ballroom, I was so worried. I wasn't going to be able to stay through anything because I was still having time running to the bathroom. Every single time I walked in the ballroom, I no longer felt any urgency. I stayed for hours with no urgency. The second thing that happened was during the pineal gland meditation. I was on the floor and an interdimensional being kneeled next to me. I could see, feel, and hear it. And it was hovering its hand over my pelvic area, and it said, don't worry, Allyne, we're healing you. And then I could feel them all around me. I knew it was just, it was amazing. I went home. I had a coherence healing in May, one in June. July, I went for the follow-up colonoscopy, and this time I was a little bit smarter. I said, you need to measure my rectum with whatever you measure things with. I want the exact details of my rectum, and I want pictures. Yeah. So he comes back, and he's like, oh, everything looks so wonderful, everything. And he shows me the pictures, and it's, bright pink, beautiful organs, everything. And I said, well, did you measure my rectum? He said, yes. I said, well, how big was it? And he said, 10 centimeters. And I said, I need you to write that down in my records. I want all of that recorded, because I knew I was going to give this to the Inner Health Coalition. I wanted them to have these records. And then he goes to leave the room, and he stops, and he turns around, and he says, oh, by the way, something very strange. I'm like, what? He says, your rectum had a tremendous amount of stricture. It was very narrow, like a child's. We don't see that in adults. It was my new rectum.
She's a light to the world. Is she not? It is the overcoming process that is the becoming process. The idea, the belief that the body is actually so regenerative in its intelligence that if you give it the right information, it could restore a part of an organ. She did the work. She didn't say, I can't do my meditation because I have incontinence. That would be excusing yourself into a limitation. She kept showing up for herself. Yeah, and it didn't happen overnight. She's wise enough to know that she's just going to stay at it. That one moment where she noticed that she could go 30 minutes and not have to use the restroom, that's all she needed to believe that it was possible. Because that was enough relief for her to change her life. That moment, her life changed. And so she's not going to stop doing what she's doing. Why would she? Why would she? She was an immersive personality. Growing a whole part of an organ back. Is the body that regenerative? Is the body with its innate intelligence, given the right information and its right cadence, can begin to send information to tissues to cause them to become renewed? Well, somebody did it. She's the example of truth. She's the 4-minute mile. If she can do it, you could do it in any area of your life.